Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Thanks for joining me once again. Before I get into today's review, do want to remind you, if you would like to support the Gaming Gang on a monthly basis, we do have a Patreon. You'll find the link to that in the show notes. And of course, if you'd like to just make a one-time contribution, you can do so through PayPal. That link is also in the show notes. And if you would like to hang with the gang over on Discord, amazingly enough, you'll be able to find an invite link to that server in the show notes. So I am going to wrap up my Wrath and Glory Weekend Plus with my review of Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment Demons and Heretics from Cubicle 7 Games. This 128-page hardcover with PDF is available now, carries an MSRP of $39.99. If you'd like to grab just the PDF alone, you can do so over at DriveThruRPG for $19.99. Having said all that, let's swing on over to the other camera, because here I've got Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment, Demons and Heretics. A couple of things to mention before we get stuck in. First of all, my friends over at Cubicle 7 Games were kind enough to provide me with this review copy, but neither I nor anyone else affiliated with the Gaming Gang has received any other sort of compensation for me to share this review with you. It's important you know that. We're also not going to look at each and every page of the book, but I do want to give you a really good feel for what you're going to find inside. First thing we're going to do is take a peek at the credits page. A lot of folks worked very hard to bring this to life, so let's give credit where credit is due. Now, Threat Assessment Demons and Heretics is essentially a bestiary for the Wrath and Glory role-playing game. So we're going to begin with a discussion of the ruinous powers, the dark gods, the chaos gods, and what sort of influence they have on the various planets in the Gilead system, which is where Wrath and Glory takes place. We'll also get some information about chaos cults, as well as an example cult and some tables for us to create our own chaos cults. And then we're going to dive into the bestiary section, because that is going to be what occupies the vast majority of the page count for Demons and Heretics. So we're going to start off with some of the mortal foes that the player characters will go up against. So we've got our cultists here. And then we are going to move on to our heretic Astartes, our chaos space marines, which I always have felt are very, very cool. It's important for me to mention that I am not all that well versed with modern Warhammer 40K. I played the first couple of editions a little bit, not a ton, but I played a whole lot of the epic scale. So I go back to the Adeptus Titanicus and Space Marine days, where they were those 6mm minis, and I played the hell out of that. But I got to be honest, I have not had an opportunity to take a peek at many of the more recent editions of Warhammer 40K. So my experience really comes by way of Wrath and Glory and Imperium Maledictum these days. So we will get into the forces of the various different chaos gods. You'll find everything you need to know about the monsters of Zinich, Khorne, Nurgle, and Slaanesh. As you can see, artwork throughout is excellent. As far as the production quality, it's what we know we're going to get from Cubicle 7 Games. Got really nice paper stock. The artwork throughout is excellent, and there's a good amount of it. And of course, we also have the stitched binding, so the book is going to hold up really nicely at your game table. So as you can see, we're going to have the 4 major chaos gods and the forces which are available to them. We'll also get information about chaos vehicles and wrap up with a bunch of new psychic powers for the forces of chaos. This book is jam packed with content. Now, keep in mind, unlike Inheritance of Embers and Vow of Absolution, this is not a player-facing book because these entries are not designed to be used as archetypes for player characters. These are enemies. That's why I had mentioned this is essentially a chaos bestiary for Wrath and Glory. So that's a peek inside. Let's swing on over to the other camera so I can share some final thoughts as well as my review score. Excellent book. This is one of my favorite Wrath and Glory splat books I've had an opportunity to take a peek at. And for the most part, I've liked everything I've seen for Wrath and Glory. I know it's not every Warhammer 40K fan's cup of tea, but because I'm not all that well versed in modern Warhammer 40K anyway, I really like what's going on in the Gilead system and all the cool stuff with these splat books. So as I mentioned, this is a bestiary and it is absolutely packed with adversaries and monsters to throw at your player characters and really cool stuff within. I've got to say, if you are running Wrath and Glory, this is an absolute must-have because chaos is your big bad. Now, that doesn't mean that every adventure in your Wrath and Glory campaign has to revolve around the forces of chaos. And you don't need to necessarily use the forces of each and every one of the dark gods in your campaign, but they are present. They are your big bad. You really do need to have a lot of information and a lot of challenges to throw in the path of your players. So I got to say, threat assessment, Daemons and Heretics is kind of a must-have for those of you who are running the game. And thankfully, it's an excellent book. So on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Warhammer 40,000 Roleplay Wrath and Glory Threat Assessment, Daemons and Heretics, a 9 out of 10. It is that good, and it is that packed with content that it is pretty much a must-have for the game masters running Wrath and Glory. All right, that is it for this time out, and that wraps up our Wrath and Glory Weekend Plus as well. If you like the video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. If you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell. It'll not only let you know when I share videos such as this review, it'll also inform you when my live stream, the Gaming Gang Dispatch, airs Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. Once again, I'm Jeff McAleer. Thank you very much for watching. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.